Okay, welcome everyone once again to the ServiceNow Xanadu release webinar for Telecom. We are really very excited to have you all with us today. And we just have a quick safe harbor announcement for any forward-looking statements that we might be discussing today. And we also have other webinars that are scheduled as part of our Live on ServiceNow series. So please scan the QR code or grab the link in the chat window to register for any future webinars that you could be potentially interested in. And before we begin, there are some general housekeeping rules. We will first be deep diving into the Xanadu updates, but we have saved time towards the end. So please save your Q&A questions for the end of the session and use the Q&A button on the screen to add your questions. And for folks who would be interested in revisiting the webinar, we will be recording today's session and we will be posting it on the ServiceNow community page. So be sure to check it out. And towards the end of the webinar today, we have a feedback form. And we would love to hear your feedback so we can continue to make things better. So please share a few moments at the end to share your valuable feedback. And now for a quick round of introductions. My name is Pavitra, and I'm a senior industry marketing specialist at ServiceNow. And I am thrilled to have with us today Romit Ghosh, who's the head of product for the telecom and media industries at ServiceNow. Thank you so much, Romit, for joining us today.
Super excited to be here. Can't wait to share with our audience today what we're bringing in Xanadu.
Absolutely. And the agenda for today will be a bunch of updates we have across all our telco products. In essence, what our Xanadu release brings to telco operators is to empower them to deliver seamless experiences that help accelerate and grow revenue while elevating employee productivity across the organization, and also creating a strong bottom line impact by reducing costs. And now quickly to speak about our ServiceNow platform, before we deep dive into the Xanadu highlights, I'd like to cover how our platform delivers value to the telco industry. The Now platform is powered by GenAI. It is built on a single code base and aligned to industry standards and has a self-aware CMDB. The Now platform empowers telcos to actually drive efficiency across the value chain, starting from designing and planning and building the networks, to maintaining the networks, to sales and order management, from actually recommending the right products and services to meet customer needs, to effectively fulfilling it. And once the products are in the hands of the customer, the platform helps you to support the customer with any kind of request or addressing issues with speed and accuracy. And finally, to providing network assurance, ensuring that networks are monitored and tracked effectively, and any issues are proactively communicated to the customers. So essentially, the Now platform streamlines the end-to-end service experience for telcos. And I, at this point, would ask Romit to share his perspective on how a ServiceNow can help transform operations for telcos.
Thank you, Pavitra. So I think a lot of our audience has seen our message around our product portfolio for telecom. It is one of the most fully baked out, fully fleshed out product portfolios that we bring to market, because we go from the end-to-end experience of the network around plan build activities, around assurance activities, right through to even growing your revenue with our sales and fulfillment capabilities using sales and order management for telecom. Why did we go down this path? We went down this path because we found in our customer environments that the real savings, the 5x, 10x, 20x savings, are really to be had when all of these capabilities come together on a singular platform. Of course, as all of you know, we do bring to market each of these capabilities individually, and a lot of our customers do start their journey on ServiceNow's telecom products with one or more of the pillars indicated on this arc. However, having said that, we have found that our customers then quickly move on to adopt other areas because the synergies in a common data model, a common platform, a common resource pool, a technical resource pool that is able to quickly institute business process change using ServiceNow's best-in-class low-code, no-code platform is really possible when several of these pillars come together. So imagine a world where you build out your network using telecom network inventory, indicated here on the left. You use our field service management capabilities to roll those out into the network, and then you're ready to carry out sales on those core network infrastructure that you've rolled out. Sales and order management goes full stack from quoting to configuring, pricing, as well as order capture and fulfillment, right through the entire orchestration cycle of COM, SOM, and soon to come ROM as well in the order fulfillment journey. We have also added opportunity and lead management for you to be able to capture those along your interactions with your customers. Once sold, you're now ready to populate the CMDB and indicate what exactly every customer is using from in terms of services and products from you. And then you're ready to deliver best-in-class service management. Service management at ServiceNow, specifically for telecom, connects the customer-facing front office operations to the network engineering activities around assurance on a single stack. And that's where we find that our TSM and TSOM capabilities are a game changer in enabling our customers to do proactive customer care, as well as to be able to react in a snappy, fast way when customers reach out. We have a full stack self-service capability that goes ahead and enables deflection in a best-in-class way. And that is something we constantly invest in and are seeing tremendous gains via especially our Gen AI product suite. So we continue to invest heavily in each of these pillars you see. A new entrant to this arc that may not be very visible just here on this specific section is essentially our strategic portfolio management for telecom product. Strategic portfolio management is a project management tool that enables you to manage resource, time, schedule across any operations within your value chain, whether it is network plan and build activities that are long-tailed or certain order fulfillment activities that may require project management oversight. SPMT fits in perfectly in a pre-integrated fashion with several other blocks on this arc. So we invite you to come take a look at that as well and send us your questions if you have any. ESG is another key capability that sits adjacent to telecom network inventory, where you can truly manage the ESG standards and reporting requirements around your assets, particularly when it comes to network. Power consumption is top of mind, and that's something we will absolutely continue to invest in as well. So the Xanadu release has been no different. We have doubled down our investment in some of the key areas, and we're excited to share those with you. Over to you, Pavitra.
Yep. Thanks, Romit, for the detailed understanding on the end-to-end capabilities we have for the telco industry. And before we begin, to make things interesting, we have our first poll question, and we'd like to understand what is the primary barrier to achieving seamless integrations across telecom operations. Would it be siloed data, manual processes, or complexity around integrating, or limited visibility into the life cycle? So yeah, our attendees, please go ahead and choose your answers. Let's just give it a few quick seconds. Romit, what in your experience has been the biggest impediment towards fast-tracking integrations for telcos?
Well, I want to wait to see what our audience says. I, of course, do have an opinion on this. We have a framework we use in order to drive our product investment when it comes to stitching it all together. But I'm really, really curious what our audience is going to say today.
Right. Romit, do you have your results, or do you want me to go ahead and share them?
Yeah, why don't you walk our audience through the
Yeah,
results
we
as
have
well?
around we're sort of tied on siloed data systems and complexity to keep up with innovation and integrating multiple systems. Both of them seem to have gotten top spots. So I would say siloed data, and that's exactly what our ServiceNow platform is sort of vision of the platform is to break down the silos across the organization. And I can see why and
Yeah,
how.
so these results are exactly in line with what we constantly hear from our customer base. And this is what drives us to innovate further on our platform. One noteworthy point to make over here is that at ServiceNow, you will find that even when we make an acquisition, when we go out there and find that there is a white space in terms of product functionality on our side, and we go ahead and acquire a company in order to plug that white space, we essentially take a pause on revenue streams coming in from that acquisition, because our acquisitions are not revenue acquisitions. They're really technology acquisitions. We spend a considerable amount of investment and time in ensuring that we truly integrate and re-platform those capabilities that we acquire into our platform. What does this really do? It keeps that consistency across the platform in order to ensure that you're now not creating those siloed data and systems. You're not having to hop technologies in order to integrate them. And you have full visibility and control in terms of who accesses what data, in what fashion, in which UI, and in what format. So the cohesiveness of all our capabilities sitting on the same platform is something that we place a tremendous amount of value on, because that's where our customers really gravitate to ServiceNow as well. So the survey results are really in line with what our product strategy is dictating as well. So glad to see the results come in.
Absolutely. And with that, we can actually, Romit, start deep diving. Having some challenges moving to the next slide. Just give me a moment. All right, Romit, over to you, and diving into our first topic here. Now this is for Telecom.
All right, so let's talk about specifically some cool new additions that we've made with Xanadu. So in the world of telecom, we often run into scenarios which are referred to as trouble tickets. Think of customer service problem management as our version of a trouble ticket that's coming in from a customer. When a customer reports a problem, we often have very little context on what they're doing in terms of utilizing that service and where exactly they're facing that problem. There might be a one-line description that you then have to tease apart to identify how exactly you're going to diagnose the root cause of this issue and then progress to solving it. What we've done with customer service problem management is, in a singular process-based layout, we have brought in all the context of the customer, the services they run, and also offered what we call as a diagnostics and test framework inside of that process-based layout under the diagnosis step, where you can really configure based on the kind of service that the issue is being reported on, the kind of tests that need to be carried out. So once you've set up those tests and a ticket comes in, a case comes in specifically for that, that service, a very specific list of tests presents itself. We are then going to go ahead and provide the agent the opportunity to run those tests. These tests can integrate into any kind of diagnostic framework that you may have behind the scenes, any kind of test systems that you may have behind the scenes. You can do an API-based integration. We already follow TMF standards, so that makes those integrations really, really simple. And the idea is to really present the results right there in front of that agent as they're on the phone with the customer, or getting ready to quickly respond to the customer and achieve that mean time to resolution and hit that SLA. Once those tests have been performed, there's a very specific set of tasks that may have to be generated in order to actually proceed to resolution. So the ability to use our workflows to look at the test results and then be able to specifically generate the tasks that need to be performed is also encapsulated within the notion of CSPM. Of course, as the resolution progresses, you then have the ability to populate resolution notes, inform customers, communicate with them, notify them, all from within the comfort of this one process-based layout UI. Now, it's really, really important to also understand, and we're hyper aware of the level of nuances that different services bring. The ability to configure this is 100%. So you're able to affect the kind of steps, you're able to affect what goes on within each of the steps, and you can really use our playbook capability to affect how exactly you want to uptake this and adopt this capability. Next slide. Now, for those of you who are familiar with ServiceNow's journey with generative AI, you might already know that ServiceNow was one of the first enterprise SaaS organizations globally to release productive Gen AI capabilities. And we had this head start in being able to do so because our research unit was already investing in dabbling with LLMs and generating tests around that. So when the generative AI wave hit the world and it became the next big technology for everyone to adopt, we were ready. We, of course, partnered with NVIDIA. We equipped our data centers with the GPUs required for the compute necessary to run generative AI training as well as inferencing. And we launched Now Assist as our brand for shipping generative AI skills. In this agentic enterprise world, we find that every capability within our product portfolio will have several skills to ship. And in the world of telecom, that's no different. So we've gone ahead and shipped telecom-specific capabilities and skills with our Now Assist under the Now Assist umbrella. Specifically in Xanadu, with the launch of customer service problem management, we now have a framework that allows us to ship 3 new skills. The first one is a summarization capability on the customer service problem. What this means is that when a customer approaches either a contact center agent or tries to self-serve on the portal or on the website or using knowledge articles, and then ends up creating a ticket, it's about really transferring that context of the effort that may have been taken to self-resolve or the effort that may have been taken by an L1 agent or even a virtual agent chatbot to resolve that customer's problem when that issue is really handed off to a live agent or an L2 engineer for support. At that point, the summary really outlines in no uncertain terms where the issue is, which specific service is impacted, what kind of impact is being seen, and also outlines any key actions that may have already been taken so far and may have failed to resolve the problem. So that information is really, really key in order for the next in line agent to hit the ground running towards their resolution journey. The second skill that we have launched with Now Assist for Telecom is the ability to look at the test results within the diagnosis step that are coming from the test systems, a lot of which end up being highly technical in nature. So most of these test systems turn around results which are usually in a JSON format or in a very specific proprietary device format. And generative AI enables us to make sense of that payload that's coming from the test system and really transform it into a human understandable plain language text. So the test result summarization is our second skill. However, that skill does not stop at simply summarizing in plain text what the result is. We have a very novel use of the summarization capability that we're applying here, which is to even infer from that test result whether it was a pass or a fail. So as we progress into our following releases with customer service problem management, you will find that once it is known which service is affected, the agent might land on the diagnosis step and already see a lot of tests pre-run with the system already inferring for them whether that has passed or failed. So that allows them to hit the ground running in terms of being able to actually dive into issue resolution, because based on the pass-fail status, you can really generate those tasks, those resolution tasks to perform. This completely transforms the mean time to resolution and shrinks it to an extent that you're not only able to hit SLAs, but are able to really affect your customer satisfaction index significantly. We do have the ability, on top of what is inferred by generative AI and Now Assist, the ability to go ahead and override that result. So a network engineer could say that, well, generative AI, you're telling me that it's failed, but I think this test has passed. And in the upcoming releases, we're also going to be investing in the notion of RLHF, where we'll be performing reinforced learning using human feedback, where every time a network engineer identifies a discrepancy and overrides a result, the results get that much more accurate over time. Now, we're not done yet with the skills we're shipping. The third skill that we're shipping is specifically around wrapping up this case, around closing it out with resolution notes. We find in most scenarios when issues are as technical as they can get within the telecom space, there are elaborate templates that agents and network engineers have to populate when it comes to copying or identifying resolution notes before they can truly close out a case. And with this third skill, you can do case wrap up in record time. So you can actually generate results, a resolution note or a summary based on what the issue was, how it was tackled, how it was resolved, so that for future issues that may occur around the same problem, you do have a well-chronicled log of what may have transpired in the past. When we implemented this in our support organization to generate the resolution notes, we found that 53% of the time, our support agents didn't even have to touch the results generated by generative AI, even for grammar. So that completely transformed the amount of time it took them to wrap up these cases, which can be considerable if the case is long running and highly technical in nature. So we're really excited about these capabilities, and they will see continuous enhancement into the future releases as well. Next slide, Pavitra. All right, so let's take a look at some of this in action. So what you're looking at here is the customer service problem management UI in our workspace. So it's captured in a process-based layout where you have the verification, the diagnosis step, the repair step, and the test and resolve and close. You will see that when the case is received, a summary is pre-generated, which is the service problem case summary from Now Assist. It talks about where the issue is and what key actions may have been taken already and not been successful so far. As we land into the diagnosis step, you see a list of tests already populated. Now, when those tests are run, we receive test results. And as those test results are received, the network engineer in this case, can dive into those test results and really pull up the summary associated with them, which has translated those incoming JSON payloads as an example, or device results into plain English. The test response is highly technical, but when you go into the summary itself, it is in plain English and describes in no uncertain terms what exactly transpired as part of the test result. It also goes ahead and designates a pass or fail status. And on the basis of that pass or fail status, you can proceed to then take action, because our workflow behind the scene goes ahead and can honor the test results and proceed to then generate the right set of repair tasks, which then can be assigned to the right set of agents using our advanced work assignment capability in the platform that can then go ahead and allow our agents to even report notifying the customer what exactly is being done in order to resolve the issue. Once those notifications are made and the customer is kept abreast with what is going on with their specific issue and case, Now Assist can then help to proceed and generate resolution notes. So Now Assist is generating the resolution notes as well as the resolution code associated with this issue. In this case, we're showing a simpler version for you to consume and take a look at how Now Assist can simplify the resolution. What you'll also find is that the summary on the case itself evolves over time. It is real time, it is very specific to the stage and age of the case, and takes into account the fact that it has now been resolved. So at any given point in time, to get a full-on summary about the case, you can go ahead and summarize that service problem case at any given point in time. So these are the Now Assist skills that we've shipped with Xanadu. Next slide. All right. So we are really excited about this, this customer case study where BT went to production with our Now Assist capabilities. They use some really specific case capabilities around case summarization, around resolution note generation, as well as AI search around using our Q&A LLM. And the results were absolutely astounding. Now, BT, as you can understand, is obviously an already optimized environment, and shrinking mean time to resolution on an already optimized process is often highly challenging. Generative AI has allowed us to change the game there. We found that the amount of time taken to hand over complex cases by summarizing the actions on a case was slashed by 55%. We also found that in order to really type out resolution notes and populate resolution notes, there was a huge reduction in the amount of time taken. And all of that cumulatively led to a 33% reduction in the mean time to resolution for the cases overall. And this is an extremely successful use of generative AI. And what's also important to note that BT was able to carry out some really quick POCs and take this to production really, really quickly. That's also at the heart of how we ship our Now Assist capabilities. We've made them as plug and play and as consumable, readily consumable on the base stack as quickly as possible, because you want to be able to generate that time to value as fast as possible. So we really invite you to take a look at processes within your environment and see how Now Assist may be applicable there.
All right. With its fantastic transformative potential of Gen AI, we have another poll, and we would like to understand what are the areas that show the highest potential for adopting Gen AI within your organization. We have options from customer self-service to streamlining assurance, automating network inventory, sales and order management, or field service management, or all of the above.
I can see the results trickling in, and I have to say I'm not, it's again validation for what we're hearing as well from our customer community. But it's always great for our customers to come and kind of cross-pollinate ideas in this forum and feel validated that their thinking is along the lines of what their peers are thinking. We see a lot of responses trickling in.
Okay, we have, I think, the most potential use case is perhaps around customer self-service and agent assist scenarios. And that's what we've been hearing from our customers as well.
That's right. The winner, though, of the poll seems to be the all of the above option. So that also, Pavitra, is great validation that the use cases that we are POCing at this time, and you will see Now Assist skills being launched for in the future releases, are exactly what customers are thinking about. I think The first area that most of our customers are starting to adopt generative AI in is around the area of deflection and customer self-service, as well as around agent assistant scenarios. And as you saw, the Now Assist for Telecom skills are also in that area. However, we're focusing heavily on ensuring that every part of the arc, the telco arc that we first showed, is going to be infused with generative AI capabilities, and we're seeing some amazing trends and results in our early tests and POCs. So please stay tuned for this space. Another key topic that I wanted to talk really, really quickly about is Xanadu saw the launch of our custom skill builder capability within the platform. So when you adopt Now Assist for TSM via our TSM Pro Plus or our TSM Enterprise Plus offering, you essentially also get access to the ability to build out custom skills. You can go ahead and create your own skill with your own prompts and generate the kind of responses that you want and embed them at the right juncture within your process in ServiceNow. So that's also something we invite you to start exploring, and send us any questions if you have any. All right, so let's dive into the next area. Pavitra, next slide. Let's take a look at the first feature over here around TSM. So Xanadu also saw the release and our entry into a brand new area for ServiceNow, which is the area of customer success. So we found within our customer environments that a lot of the health score calculation, the propensity to churn or the propensity to renew, the action plans that are created around ensuring customer success, all of those capabilities are handled in systems which are outside of ServiceNow because they offer a rule-based framework to calculate those scores. There are systems out there which classify themselves as customer success and customer success only. But we also found, and our customers really led us into this space, is that 70 to 80% of the data that was being used in order to calculate those health scores resided natively in systems of operations like ServiceNow. It was eventually data like customer cases, customer tickets, orders, how quickly those orders have been fulfilled, whether or not SLA has been met in terms of fulfilling those orders and responding to those cases. What kind of quotes have been created in the past, what kind of services this customer is running, what location they're running it in, and what the general health of the services have been in the past 1 or 2 years. All of this data is actually what goes into identifying the health score around the customer, whether or not that customer will renew their services with you, whether or not, or whether they will churn, whether or not there is a challenge in terms of them adopting your service, do they need help? All of those signals and insights is something that we can generate out of ServiceNow data. So we have gone ahead and created a full stack customer success capability with the ability to bring in squads, assign them to success blueprints, and really generate success plans for your customers. These success plans are built and predicated on the notion of assigning tasks to these squad members who then can work with the customer success manager, but the tasks are not limited to the customer success organization. ServiceNow is built on the notion of a task, is built on the notion of orchestrating work through the organization. So who better than ServiceNow to go ahead and orchestrate these tasks to ensure that you're performing the customer success plan and executing it to the T? So we have enabled the ability for customer success managers to automate with easy triggers in our workflow framework in order to generate these blueprints, these plans, and assign tasks to ensure customer success, whether it is around identifying a new opportunity, or it's around ensuring that a renewal happens, so doing what it takes to do that, or it's about ensuring that there's no churn around a highly dissatisfied customer. All of this can be managed within the context of the customer success umbrella. which is now a full stack capability that we've launched with Xanadu. So we invite you to start exploring that as well. Next slide. Service Bridge. Service Bridge, as you know, is a key capability that we have available within TSM, which enables you to connect directly to the ServiceNow environments of your customers. A lot of time we found that the versions that the customers were on in terms of ServiceNow versions disallowed these integrations to happen with Service Bridge. So now you can seamlessly onboard way more customers across all versions without any service interruptions. You can essentially go ahead and accommodate different versions of Service Bridge and support different customers. So we've taken away that dependency that essentially blocks a lot of customers to be onboarded onto your Service Bridge. Next slide. Consumer pre-flows is the notion that enables the idea that neither your customer nor you as your provider have to go ahead and transform your processes in any which way in order to adopt Service Bridge. And the idea here is that a pre-flow, which is essentially maybe a process that might already exist on your customer's environment, to first triage an incident within their environment before it's sent over as a case to you, we honor that, right? So we go ahead and involve the ability to run consumer pre-flows before it is synchronized as a remote record producer request with a provider, right? So a customer could totally run their individual processes on their end. You could run your processes on your end and yet be able to exchange information at the right time that that process allows. So that's what this capability allows. All right. So there are other key capabilities that come to TSM via the CSM module. As you know, CSM capabilities are all included in Telecom Service Management in TSM. Like I said, we discussed the ALE capability, the Service Bridge capability. There is rich messaging within Service Catalog that we have introduced. The Service Model Foundation, which is the inter-organization support and the modeling of that, has gone through a tremendous enhancement in Xanadu. We have also introduced the ability for, we've introduced a whole slew of enhancements around sending out emails directly from within the agent workspace, the CSM workspace, where an agent essentially works. So all of these capabilities are now available inside of TSM via the CSM module. All right, let's dive into Telecom Network Inventory. Telecom Network Inventory, as you guys are aware, essentially caters to the plan and build section of the lifecycle journey of operations. We have gone ahead and introduced several enhancements to our circuit visualization. So this is where you're able to design and build new circuits as requests come in. This is where you're able to optimally connect 2 points across different hops, across different network elements. And you're also able to view current and historic network designs and make connections. You can also then decide how exactly to proceed with network upgrade activities. You're able to manage redundancy paths across connections and deliver more reliable networks. You're able to do assignments of cards, slots, and ports for connection elements and maintain truly accurate data. So we go down to a highly detailed level when it comes to creating that logical circuit. And really be able to also identify the right topology connection between points. So this has become a fully flushed out design and assign capability where you essentially are designing a new network segment as an example. Next slide. All right, so we've done a bunch of enhancements to the planned revision notion where we fully recognize that many versions of a network plan and build activity are carried out before one is actually adopted. So the idea over here is to have truly error-free deployments when you're ready to actually commit that change. So the idea is to display these logical connection details and connection elements in an overview page for accurate planning, and then you validate your revised designs against the original so that you can truly see what the changes are that will be implemented once this is committed. And we also are highly focused on ensuring that historic designs are also kept. So any kind of historic change design records are kept for up to 1 year for historical references, as well as any kind of troubleshooting that you may have to do at that moment in time. All right. Our rack management interface, which we had introduced in our previous release, has gone through tremendous amounts of enhancements as well, particularly relevant for managing data centers. So if data center management is relevant to your scenario, this is a highly applicable tool in that sense. You're able to add, move, remove rack equipment with ease with drag and drop. You're able to increase the flexibility and scalability of maintaining rack inventory. You can reserve rack units for future implementations. You can unreserve them when they're not required. You can view rack edits side by side now in order to see the current rack layout prior to actually saving them. And you can also now pull in from external sources any kind of rack power and weight KPIs. And you can monitor the limitations that exist around that specific rack. And you can show it within this same UI as you're actually proceeding to make changes to it. So this, again, will see continuous enhancement and investment from us in the future releases as we produce more features for data center management. All right, let's take a look at TNI in action when it comes to Xanadu. So here you're seeing a logical circuit being opened up. That plus sign essentially opened up all the nodes associated with that one logical circuit. You're exactly able to see in multiple views. One is a current view and the other is a revision view, what changes are actually being made. And they get highlighted on the revision view as you're taking a look at those. You can also then zoom out in order to see what redundancy paths exist, what additional paths exist outside of that logical circuit, but associated with it that may have an impact on it. You can go ahead and select from a catalog of changes a specific change. So you can, for example, pick a plan revision. And as you go ahead and pick that plan revision, it'll ask you to create a new change request, which is pre-populated. You go ahead and save that, and it generates the actual change tasks associated with it. And as you proceed to review the actual CI information that you are actually going to create the plan revision for, you then can proceed to go ahead and review that the actual affected CIs and where exactly it'll show up. It shows you which logical connections are being worked on at this point in time. You can go ahead and then validate that revision. As you validate that revision, getting a success message, you can then proceed into actually pushing that revision into the system. On the data center capabilities around rack space visualization, you see the new KPIs that we've added around unit utilization, power, and weight. On the rack visualization itself, you see which spaces are reserved versus which spaces are fully available for you to use. And you can go ahead and pick, for example, in this scenario, we're adding in our view to a available space. That space has been added, but it's not committed yet. It's a planned change. So it says in no uncertain terms that there's a save required so that it becomes really clear what is already operational versus what is being worked on at this point in time. And you're really able to see side by side what the current configuration is versus what the planned upcoming revisions look like. So this enables you to take an informed decision while you're doing the design work. Okay, next slide. All right, let's talk about sales and order management for telecom. As part of sales and order management, we have enhanced the use of Service Bridge in a very novel way. Service Bridge, for those of you who are familiar with it, was a tool that was initially limited to the world of service management. So any kind of cases, requests, problems, issues, complaints that the customer may want to request or push in from their ServiceNow instance to you as a provider are the key use cases for Service Bridge. But now with Xanadu, we are introducing the ability to take orders through Service Bridge. Think of this as our step in the direction of introducing a frictionless sales experience. Even if there is a commercially relevant order, we're able to throw up the price point because we have a full stack pricing engine associated with sales and order management for telecom. And customers can really request for new services or additions to their existing services directly from the comfort and familiarity of their own IT environment and push those in. Think of this as a world where no sales rep is involved, and yet customers are directly interacting for commercially relevant new orders, change orders, as you will, from directly the comfort of their own IT, ServiceNow IT environments. So this is a brand new area for us and a brand new use of Service Bridge beyond the world of just service management. Next slide. We've also introduced the notion of managing change orders for scenarios where location changes are required. It's very common to move services from one location to another, and customers always request that. And this capability is essentially built out to streamline that around first validating and confirming the feasibility of that change order with specific service it's being requested on, and then seamlessly to be able to disconnect and reconnect services to really ensure that seamless transition from one location to another. All right. Now, there are several other capabilities within sales and order management for telecom, which we won't go into in detail today. But Xanadu saw the introduction of lead management capability. Now, let's be clear, we're not a full stack marketing automation platform, but this enables the lead data model that has now been introduced within sales and order management for telecom, now enables various parts of the value chain to go ahead and capture a lead whenever they identify one, right? So there could be customers who might want to go ahead and engage in totally new services that they haven't purchased from you. And you are not ready to qualify that as an opportunity just yet. So you can create a lead for it and then go ahead and convert that to opportunities later, which data model also exists within sales and order management for telecom. Contract management for sales and order management for telecom has been added. There is a data model that already exists around capturing contracts and their terms. But we've gone ahead and also added an add-on should you decide to do contract management in terms of generating the contract and actually working through the documentary aspects of the contract via an add-on that goes in line with on top of sales and order management for telecom. We've also introduced several enhancements around quote and opportunity management. With opportunity management, for example, we've integrated it with field service management. So if a field service technician on the field identifies an opportunity for further upsell, they can create an opportunity and assign a sales rep can get assigned to it to pursue that with the customer separately. And there are several enhancements also around our product catalog and managing that catalog for a product catalog manager. All right. In summary, I do want to highlight that we have focused on 4 key areas within Xanadu, which is TSM, TNI, Sales and Order Management for Telecom, and Now Assist for Telecom. We will continue to double down our efforts around releasing capabilities around these areas, but coming into Yokohama, you will also see capabilities coming out in the TSOM area. Like I mentioned earlier, we acquired an organization called Atranet back in April, and we are hard at work currently to re-platform a lot of the capabilities around network discovery that come to us through Atranet. And Yokohama will see a lot of releases coming, a lot of cool new features coming in the Telecom Service Operations Management, or TSOM for short, space that we'll be adding there. TNI, as well as TSM and SOMT will continue to see enhancements as well. And Now Assist is, of course, the tip of the spear for us at this time, because we are investing heavily in introducing newer skills with every release. So I think we do still have some time for questions. Pavitra, over to you. If you want to run a last poll.
Yes, I do. Thanks so much, Romit, for all the detailed explanation on our innovations and enhancements. So we would like to understand from our attendees today what they think are the first sort of features that they would implement at their organization.
Like I mentioned earlier, while we absolutely have a idea in mind when we ship these features, we base our backlog as well as our roadmap on a lot of interactions with our current customers, prospective customers, and industry experts at large. We see a variety of ways in which our customers adopt our features and a variety of sequences in which they do so. So this is something that we do see varied results in, and I'm really curious to see the results in terms of this poll as well. I see results trickling in. It's very heartening to see an even spread.
Romit, do you agree with what you see here on our poll
Yeah,
results?
well, I mean, this is something that is totally something that we take what we get, right? Our customers adopt and have different priorities at different life cycles of their projects, and I see a very even spread across the polls, across this poll. Telecom network inventory visualizations are, of course, a very visual feature, and it is definitely exciting to see that our investments there are paying off. Customers are seeing value in it. A lot of customers are adopting it as we speak, and the poll indicates that as well. I'm also excited about the excitement around customer success and around the service bridge aspects. So thank you for validating our thinking around our investment priorities.
All right. Now, quickly, the few minutes that we have left, I'd like to cover the other cool things that are happening. First of all, thanks for joining us through the webinar. Do take the time to explore all the new apps on the ServiceNow store. You can also engage with our ServiceNow community and get answers from experts, or feel free to contact your ServiceNow account rep and schedule a demo to understand any of the new features that you would like to know better. We also have a World Forum coming to a city near you, and these are free to attend events, so feel free to scan the QR code or grab the link in the comment section, and it should be interesting. It should be an interesting event wherever you decide to go to. We have demos, we have expert sessions, so please do join us.